Hey everybody, good afternoon. It's 12:06 on this Mother's Day weekend, and it's time for the Car Guys. Myself, Shelley Winter, and filling in for Kevin Deutsch, General Manager of Butler Lexus at South Atlanta, is my good friend, his good friend, and my brother and his brother, Jason Reeves. He's the former General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Buckhead, and he's currently an automotive consultant. Welcome to Car Guys, Jason.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon. Glad to be here again in the studio with you, Shelley.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's get right to it. Most common AI questions about cars and car maintenance. Let's go through this. Decoding dashboard lights. So while we were preparing to come on air, I told you on my car, my Lexus, there's a P with three little lines that stays on.
Right.
And it bothers me because it's always on. And I always think my parking brake is on or something like that. Can you explain what that one light means?
Absolutely, Shelley. So that light is an indicator that your parking assist system, which is designed to make sure that the vehicles that are around you in parking lots are being monitored so that you'll know to stay away from them and not have an in-parking collision. But it is constantly on. There are hundreds of sensors that are in vehicles these days, and those sensors activate cameras so that you can stay safe and other cars around you won't pull into an area and you won't be aware that they're there. So that is exactly what that's supposed to do. We used to get calls about it all the time, but that is a good thing that light is on. That means that the car is functioning and doing what it's supposed to be doing.
So let's go through other check engine light, yellow, orange engine shape. Like, let's go through the different things that people would pay attention to or they would pop up and what people should do.
Yes, sir. So if your check engine light, typically there are several reasons that can come on. And what I like to give you an analogy is it's very similar to a body, a patient, right? So when the check engine light comes on, that is a signal from the body or the patient, if the car is considered to be a patient, that something needs to be looked at. Like, let's say patient has a fever. This is what it's like. Your check engine light comes on. There's something there that needs to be checked. It's not always something catastrophic. And sometimes you can tell based on the color. If it's red and it's flashing, then that is something that needs immediate attention.
Red flashing. Right.
That always means you need to stop the vehicle, pull over, and get immediate assistance. But it also could mean something as simple as when you stopped to get fuel the last time, you didn't appropriately close the gas cap, which is designed to seal the chamber that holds the fuel. If there's a leak or that cap is not completely closed, that can also trigger a check engine light. Doesn't mean that anything is wrong at all. It's just a signal that, hey, pay attention, something is going on.
Let me ask you this. When should I change my oil? Now, I change my oil because when I go get my oil change, they put the little sticker up in the mirror, and it gives you the next oil change, right? Do we pay attention to that, or is that just a way for the dealerships to get us back in quickly?
No, so every vehicle is built with a manufacturer's spec. I started my career with Ford, and back when I was with Ford, vehicles needed oil changes once every 3,000 miles. From that point on, manufacturers then came out with new measurements that had a setup where you need an oil change once every 5,000 miles. Now, some of the higher-end vehicles, with a Lexus or Mercedes and so forth, they have regular scheduled maintenance intervals that do include oil changes, and those are once every 10,000 miles or once a year. So you have to pay attention to those two metrics because let's say you have a vehicle and you do a lot of traveling, Shelley, and you don't drive, say, 5,000 or 10,000 miles within a year. That does not absolve you of needing to perform maintenance on your vehicle.
Right.
Then you have to look at the other metric, which is what is the time period from maintenance to maintenance. But that differs based on the vehicle. So as I mentioned a long time ago with the Ford, it was every 3,000. When I joined Mercedes, it was actually once every 12,000, and they cut that back to once every 10,000 or once a year.
Oh, once a year. So you're saying, so if I don't drive a lot, because I drive so much, I'm obviously going to get to 10,000 miles before I get, within a couple times during the year.
Right. So you could need a couple of oil changes, a couple services.
Now, when I go to the dealership, if you go to the 10 minute, nothing, everybody's good. I'm not bashing anybody.
Sure.
But when I go to the dealership, they're running a full check, right? Is that why we should go to the dealership for our maintenance?
Yes. So what you're having happen here is, yes, there is a standardization of regular scheduled maintenance that vehicles need. We know that every vehicle needs an oil change, period. Now, the intervals are set by the manufacturer. If, in fact, you have a vehicle, and particularly if it's under the warranty schedule, which could be anywhere from which is 3 months to 36,000 miles on some cars. For Mercedes, it was 4 years, 48,000 miles. You need to follow that schedule and stay within the manufacturer spec because they do have several things that need to be checked that are inherent specifically to that vehicle.
Gotcha.
And that's why you hear a lot. Kevin is very adamant about making sure that, particularly within that warranty period, that you stay close to the manufacturer because there are very specific things that are inherent to that vehicle and that manufacturer. The 15-minute oil change or 30-minute oil change, they do a great job, but they don't have an obligation to follow a manufacturer schedule.
Okay.
A authorized franchise dealer has an obligation to follow a very strict schedule when it comes to those maintenances.
404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. Those are the numbers to call. This show is designed for you to call in with any automotive question that you may have. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. Let's go down to oil pressure warning. Now, you got your oil change, the check engine light, right? But oil pressure warning, what is that? I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, so that is an uncommon thing depending on the type of car that you have. So I know that for very high performance vehicles, because of the compression and the way that they perform, they burn oil more than, say, your standard passenger car and so forth. So what you want to be aware of is what is normal for the car that you're driving. With our really high-end product that we used to deal with, Mercedes, it used to really get to people that they would consume oil at a higher rate, but you also have a vehicle that's performing at a significantly higher level. So it burns or consumes oil. It's just one of those, typically it's a light that comes on, it's an awareness thing, but it needs to be addressed relatively quickly, something like oil pressure, because the oil is like the blood of the vehicle.
Right,
so if the blood pressure drops,
right,
you need to get that addressed.
Understood. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. Those are the numbers to call. The color coding system. These are all car maintenance, engine lights, warning lights, and meanings. Well, I want to go to this one. Brake system warning.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Where is that, and where do I find that? Because I've seen check engine light.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the course of my life, everyone's seen that check engine light.
Right.
These others I've never seen. I don't know if that's because I had good cars, because I know I haven't. I've had a bunch of hoopties in my life. So, brake system warning.
All right, so I'll tell you why you haven't seen that, Shella, is because you're one of those guys that takes great care of their car. You're always getting regular scheduled maintenance. So the people that are maintaining your car, they never allow that light to come on. But what is happening is there's a sensor within the brake pads, and as the pads get thinner, it will trigger a notice to let you know that the millimeters, the thickness of the pads, is getting to a point where they need to be changed. Sometimes those trigger somewhere around 2 millimeters or so. But you need to be aware that, again, that is one of those things that, and the brakes are responsible for stopping the vehicle. So
right.
You need to pay attention to it and respond relatively quickly. But you don't see it, Shella, because, again, people that are doing the right amount of maintenance and always getting the multi-point inspections, they catch those and let you know before that light even comes on.
Now, battery charging alert. Tell me about that, because for the first time, I don't know if you have this, on my TV at home, I've got to change my batteries in my remote because it's telling me low battery.
Right.
I've never seen that before either, but I've certainly never seen battery charging alert. What does that look like, and where's that?
Well, it's also right in the center of what we used to call the multifunctional screen, which is right in the driver's field of vision. That could mean one of two things. So your combustion vehicles, regular ICE cars, internal combustion
What's
engine.
ICE again?
Yep, internal combustion engine vehicles.
Uh-huh.
The battery has a lifespan, no different than your remote or your phone and so forth. And that light is designed to tell you when the production of power from that battery is getting low. Now, that's a little bit different as it relates to completely electric vehicles or your plug-in hybrid vehicles, because they have a different battery system, typically a battery that may start the vehicle and then a battery that's responsible for driving an electric drive unit. It's more critical when that light comes on if you're driving a PHEV or a completely
PHEV is again?
plug-in hybrid electric vehicle.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
If you're driving one of those and you see a battery signal, then typically that could also mean you need to plug the vehicle up, get it raised back up to a sufficient level so that drive unit can continue to operate.
If you do see this battery charging alert, does that mean you need to get a new battery, or do you need to charge your battery up or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I have to get new batteries in my remote. I can't
Sure.
switch them around or anything. What does that tell us we have to do?
Specifically for battery charging alerts, that means that, as soon as possible, you need to stop, plug that vehicle in, and get it charged up.
I'm talking about on a regular vehicle, on an ICE vehicle.
On an ICE vehicle, if you
internal
get a battery
combustion
alert,
engine vehicle.
you got it. If you're driving one of those and you see a battery alert, that means that it is getting low. Now, of course, there could be an issue with an alternator, which is designed to, recharge the battery and so forth while you're in a driving condition. But it means that you need to be aware, and you probably need to stop it to a center and get the voltage of the battery checked to make sure that it still has the appropriate voltage. What you don't want to have happen is it get down so low that you come out from getting groceries and the car won't start.
Well, we'll start. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. Those are the numbers for you to call. Jason Reeves is filling in for Kevin. He is your automotive expert. He's a former general manager, Mercedes-Benz of Buckhead, and he's currently an automotive consultant, and he knows everything just like Kevin about all your to answer all your automotive questions. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. We will be right back.